Visit thelongrangelook.com. Federal law restricts this drug to use by or on the order of a licensed veterinarian. For use in cattle only, not for use in humans or other animal species. Keep out of reach of children. Not for use in breeding bulls or in calves less than 3 months of age. Not for use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older, including dry dairy cows or in veal calves. Post-injection site damage such as granulomas and necrosis can occur. These reactions have disappeared without treatment. Not for intravenous or intramuscular use. Do not use within 48 days of slaughter.
Randall, Southeast Ag Now.
Thank you, Randall. 60 minutes now before 12 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Nice looking Monday. Boy, the disclaimer on that last ad was so long. The cattle one? Oh, my gosh. So when you have to write, in that particular case, the ad writer probably had to make sure he wrote like 45 seconds worth of copy because they had like 15 seconds of disclaimer not to be used then and this and now. And oh, my gosh, all those disclaimers, right?
I know. Huge.
All right, so I wanted to talk to you about the science behind visualization. Have you heard of, and I'm sure you have, so let me ask it a different way. Do you have an opinion about visualization? Do you believe it works?
I do. I really do.
I'm going to read you something from Psychology Today, the magazine / website. It's now a website. It's also a magazine. Mm-hmm. Despite the great case for getting off our duffs, there are some amazingly cool and effective practices we can do from the comfort of our own recliners without even budging a finger. For instance, you can practice your golf swing. You can work out your muscles. You can prepare to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. You can hone your chess skills. You can practice for tomorrow's surgery. You can even prepare for your best life. Mental practice can get you closer to where you want to be in life, and it can prepare you for success. For instance, Nathan Sharansky, a computer specialist who spent 9 years in prison in the USSR after being accused of spying for the United States, has a lot of experience with mental practice. While in solitary confinement, he played himself in mental chess, saying, "I might as well use the opportunity to become the world champion." Remarkably, in 1996, Sharansky beat world champion chess player Garry Kasparov.
Wow. Isn't that something?
A study looking at brain patterns in weightlifters found that the patterns activated when a weightlifter lifted hundreds of pounds were similarly activated when they only imagined lifting that weight. In some cases, research has revealed that mental practice is almost as effective as true physical practice, and that doing both is more effective than either alone. For instance, in his study on everyday people, Guang Yu, an exercise psychologist from Cleveland Clinic Foundation in Ohio, compared people who went to the gym with people who carried out virtual workouts in their heads. He found that a 30% muscle increase in the group who went to the gym.
Really?
However, the group of participants who conducted mental exercises of the weight training increased muscle strength by almost half as much, 13.5%.
Oh my gosh.
Okay,
Isn't that
so it goes
something?
on and on and on, and I wanted to turn it to just simply improvising here at this point, Robin, because here is something I want to tell everybody about that happened yesterday. Mental visualization was used yesterday.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
I'm
all ears.
Here's what I want to say first. Mm-hmm. If I walked down to the interstate with you and said, let's look for red cars, we would see lots of red cars.
Yes.
Right? Because you're focusing on red cars.
Yeah.
Right? Now, here's the philosophical question. Did looking for the red cars make them appear? Or did looking for the red cars make you notice them?
Probably notice.
All right. This has to be.
I would think notice.
I know. Because how could you make a car appear?
Yeah.
By
I
the
can't.
simple thought of it, okay? Mm-hmm. So here's what I want to tell everybody. I may have done this yesterday without realizing it. So we went to Salt Springs yesterday.
Yes.
And I took our good friend Doug with us. Now, Doug is a 57-year-old man. He's got Down syndrome. He's lived independently most of his life. Now he does live in a group home, but I went over there yesterday morning, and I told the group home lady I'm taking Doug for an Easter outing, and everything was great. We had a really, really good time with you and your mom and your brother and his wife. And
It was fun.
so it was really, really fun. So Doug and I decided to take a walk. And he loves Indian culture, Native American culture. He loves Indians, okay? So he wanted to look for arrowheads. So I said, okay. So I found a feather, one feather. And I said, wait a minute, how about a feather? Would you like a feather?
Yes.
So we pick up this feather off the ground. It was a nice looking feather, and he was happy to have a feather. And then I said, you know what? Maybe it's easier to find feathers since we found one than it is to find arrowheads. All right. As soon as I said, let's look for feathers, I am not exaggerating. We found feather after feather. And I'm not saying a bird must have just been eaten or something and it was all over the place, because we were walking, quite a bit. So they weren't all in one place, and they weren't attached to any carcass or anything like that.
Well, that's good.
And they were all different shapes. Well, kind of the same shape, but they were all different sizes, and they had all different color patterns on them. So I thought they must be different birds. Your mother told me you're not allowed to pick up the eagle ones because you'll be arrested. So I told Doug, that's a pigeon feather. I don't care how big it is. If anybody asks, that's from a pigeon. All right.
That's right.
But we found some big feathers. And I thought, wow, how I would have never seen these feathers if we weren't looking for feathers. So did the visualization. You are totally distracted. Hey, oh, cute, beautiful.
I can be ambidextrous. I can.
Yeah, I
look
know.
and hear at the
I know
same
your
time.
brain works wonderfully. So anyway, so the thing was, did we find the feathers because we were looking for them, or did we manifest their?
Because he had quite a few.
He had a ton.
Yeah, he had quite a few.
It wasn't a featherweight. It was a heavyweight feather.
Wow. Gosh.
Yeah. So I don't know why I didn't think of it yesterday, but I'm going to go back out to Salt Springs and I'm going to say I'm looking for dollars.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to look on the ground for dollars. There was a guy. I'm not making this up. There was a guy. Do you remember the Mike Douglas show by chance?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Black and white. I remember.
No, it was in color.
Well, it was eventually.
Was it?
It was in black and white first.
All right, and the Mike Douglas show. Mike Douglas was the talk show host and a singer. He would always open up with a song instead of a monologue. So he would. It's kind of like what was that other guy that did that too?
Merv Griffin.
Did he start with a song?
I think so. Yeah, I think he did.
Who did? What's that? Joe?
He's telling Tish the email.
Oh, the email. Oh, that's why he's talking to me. Okay.
No.
So. Okay. So. Who was the guy? Oh my gosh, I can't think with them yelling like that. Okay.
Not Merv Griffin.
Not Merv Griffin. The young guy, the young handsome guy.
John Davidson.
John Davidson. Yeah, that was the name.
Okay.
Yeah, he would
All right.
he would start with a song and
Yeah.
not a comedy routine.
Yeah, he would.
Okay. So anyway, so Mike Douglas. Gosh, I went on a tangent there. Mike Douglas had a show, and he was interviewing this guy who completely made his living by finding money. Do you remember this at all?
I don't remember that, but this is intriguing.
Okay. So now, the difference between then and now is that nowadays we use plastic for almost everything. Back in those days, we used cash for everything, right?
Yes, exactly.
So he would go to shopping centers, and every evening, every morning, early in the morning, he would look for cash that people had dropped. And he would find enough that he could actually survive on it. He would always find, and he said the secret is to walk along the curb line of the parking lot because the wind will blow the cash and it won't go any farther than the curb. So always walk the curb line. And so when I walk through this mall, I walk the curb line looking for money.
Have you succeeded? Has there
I
been-
have a little bit.
Yeah?
I found a
Nice.
couple dollars. Yeah.
Nice.
But people don't use cash nowadays.
Yeah, not hardly ever.
Yeah, because I remember when I walked the mall, when I was walking for a while there,
Yeah, we still walk.
not as much, but I was walking around the mall, and not in the mall, but I mean the parking lot, and I would look for cash, and I did find a couple of dollars.
Yeah, nice.
But I thought to myself, how did this guy ever earn a living doing this, except for the fact that
Well, it wasn't plastic back then. People just kept shoving the cash in their pockets, and the wind
That's my
might
point, yeah.
go and everything like that, and it's really amazing.
All
How
right, so the science of visualization is interesting. And now I'm going to go back to the reading. It says, although visualization was regarded as the new age hype for many years, research has shown that there is a strong scientific basis for how and why visualization works. It is now a well-known fact that we stimulate the same brain regions when we visualize an action and when we actually perform that same action. For example, when you visualize lifting your right hand, it stimulates. Well, see, that part I understand. That's easy to understand. But trying to visualize yourself, for example, getting a job as an actor on Broadway, let's say, something that's probably not so easy to get, right?
Right. But you got to take the steps to do it.
You got to do the
If
physical
you
stuff.
visualize it.
Exactly.
You got to take it's like getting a job. You got
Yes.
to visualize it to get a job.
Okay, so that exactly my point. So if you visualize that you are finding feathers at Salt Springs, then you have to get up off the picnic table and go walking around looking for them.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So it's just like that sign said, God feeds even the tiniest sparrow, but he does not bring food to the nest.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
I like that one. So if you were, for example, visualizing that you were going to be a Broadway actor or actress, visualizing isn't enough. You got to take the steps to do it. I guess you got to actually go and audition, blah, 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 everything that it entails.
Exactly. You
Right?
can't sit there and hope that you'll be discovered. You have to do it.
So anyway, if a person imagines moving an affected arm or leg, brain blood flows to the affected area, increasing the surrounding brain tissue to be saved. Okay, so that's talking about somebody with a stroke.
Oh.
Let's see. I'm looking for one that talk about some tangible things, physical things. Well, these are all talking about achievements like soccer and weightlifting and.
Yeah, but the stroke is interesting
arm
too,
movements.
because sometimes people have such a strong will that they are going to move that arm on their side of the body that had the stroke.
See, and I don't know whether to believe it or not, but do you remember the movie, The Secret? Do you remember that movie?
Yes,
The
I
Secret?
do. Yes, I do.
Okay, and in The Secret, the what was implied or what was said is that if you visualize that you're going to fill in the blank, then you can make it happen for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Do you believe that?
You have to visualize what you want, and then I believe you have to take the steps to make it happen. I just can't believe that I can visualize something like right now, and then all of a sudden that appears.
But then on the other hand, that you hear so many stories about people who say, I had no intention of being a novelist. I was just writing something, and somebody, next thing I know, I'm a novelist. You've heard about people who've accidentally become something that they love being.
Right, but they were writing at
Okay,
the
in that
time.
case, that's a bad example then. Okay, but how about the person who goes to apply to be, a nurse or something like that, and they don't have any nurse positions, but they have a maintenance position, and it turns out that's what they love doing,
Oh, yeah, exactly.
That kind of thing.
Oh, that's right. Exactly.
I think
believe it.
here's my problem with the whole philosophy. I do think you have to, yes, try to imagine yourself doing things, but I don't think it's that alone. I think God is an important part of it.
Oh, yes.
I think the
for
problem
sure.
I had with The Secret is that they were leaving God out of it. They were saying all you have to do is, and they weren't saying, and as long as God is willing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I do know what you
I mean, how
yeah.
many people have tried to be baseball stars or rock and roll stars or even train conductors or something? I mean, how many people have tried to do those things and did everything right, and for one reason or another didn't get it, but they got something that they did like?
Yeah, exactly.
How about this one? How about the guy who's got a huge crush on the girl in school, and she's got wants nothing to do with him, right?
Right.
And this, you know in your heart that he can visualize her to the day he dies.
Yeah.
And that's all he's going to be doing is visualizing her.
Right, he's not
If
going to happen.
exactly. Okay, but if instead of visualizing her, he visualizes himself happy in a relationship, now God has something to work with.
That's right.
Now God says, now you're talking, because Susie Kettle over there, I
Yeah.
just made up that name, Susie Kettle. Susie Kettle over there is not destined to be your wife. If you keep wanting her, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do for you. But if you say, God, I just want somebody to be happy with, I can handle that.
Yes, exactly.
So that's why I think when people say visualization is everything, I think it's part of it. Just like walking to the store is part of it.
Yeah.
yesterday. Boy, I pranked you guys good yesterday.
Yeah, you
didn't
did. You sure did.
I? We went to there's a little store at Salt Springs, and we were going to go for ice cream, and I got there first. And so I gave the lady a $20 bill, and I said, if it goes over 20, I'll owe you money. If it's under 20, you owe me money. And she said, you got it, Larry. What is your name? Larry. Right?
Yeah, you made her day, I think.
Yeah.
That was great.
So then you guys came in and you went to buy your ice cream, and she said, this is already paid for.
Yeah, right. It was great.
It's already paid for.
And she ended up owing you money.
Yes, she did. All right, Glenn Beck is coming up next. Happy Monday, everybody. You're back in the saddle. It's Monday. This is WOCA Ocala.
Fox News Radio. I'm Lillian Wu. President Trump keeping up a tradition dating back to